Hey, it's Doris with Holiday Books. Welcome back to the bathroom. I was going to film from the car today, you know, just a little change of scenery, but it rained all day. It was very dark, so the lighting wasn't any better. So, you know, here we are again in the bathroom. I brought my bag of books to work, but, I mean, I took it in the car, but then I brought it back in the house. Isn't that how it usually goes? You lug it out, you lug it in. Oh well. So anyway, welcome to Friday Reads. Let's just get started. So, I finished John Grisham's The Reckoning this week. I was buddy reading this with Jacqueline from 6 Minutes from Me and Heidi from My Reading Life. And we are all in agreement that not so much with this one. So, excuse me. This is kind of an atypical John Grisham from what I remember. I haven't read John Grisham in probably 20 years, but it's not, it is a little bit of a mystery, and it's definitely got some courtroom action going on. But it's not at all a thriller. It's not thrilling. So what it is historical fiction set in 1940, mid-40s, right after World War II. We've got a war hero that comes in and shoots a minister in the church, you know, on a weekday. It's not, you know, during the sermon or anything, but it's on a weekday when the guy's preparing his lesson. And that's kind of the main secret pulling you through this whole book is what happened here. Why would he do that? Because the guy that does the killing is an upstanding man in the community and gone through so much, and the minister seems like a well-liked guy. There's some allusions to possible hanky-panky with the wife, you know, but anyway. So you're waiting this whole book for the payout for what happened. You're thinking there's going to be a great plot twist, and it just felt so deflated at the end. And he waited until the last 3 or 4 pages to, you know, finally tell you what happened. And it just felt like you were strung along the whole time. The book's divided into 3 sections, you know, the this is what happened section. And then the middle part is a flashback to when our main character was a war hero, a prisoner of war, and then doing some guerrilla fighting in the Philippines. And that part was actually the most interesting for me. It's very brutal and eye-opening, and I hadn't really read about that historical time period, you know, in location. But anyway, what I'm saying is not really one that I would recommend to you. Then, you know, I'm reading Wherever My Heart Wanders this month. No direction, no focus, no restrictions. So I kind of went on a young at heart bender the rest of this week. I grabbed Dumplin', which just came in with my Black Friday book outlet order, and it was fabulous. It was so good. It was so good. I loved it. This is a YA contemporary, kind of a romance, but also, you know, best friend relationships, and not exactly coming of age, but coming into yourself. The protagonist is, I forget, she's in high school, but kind of in the middle grade zones, maybe in 10th or 11th grade, I can't remember exactly. But, you know, getting fairly mature, and it's so great. This is Willadine, and every time I heard her name, Willadine, if you're a Southerner, I mean, just Willadine, you could just say it so well. And her mom called her Dumpling. Her mom is the kind of beauty queen guru in the county, and they run this huge pageant every year. And Willadine is a bigger girl and not really fitting into the pageant mindset. And I just can't recommend this book enough. I mean, it's very entertaining, but it's also very heartfelt, and I felt like the main character was so real. You know, she makes mistakes and more mistakes, but she makes good decisions too, and you know, her head's just on her shoulders so well, but she also has her doubts. It's just so realistic to human nature. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Very positive, uplifting experience and enjoyable. Okay, and then I went to Pages & Co. Tilly and the Book Wanderers by Anna James, and she is a booktuber, A Case for Books, if you haven't heard of her. Lovely, lovely, lovely booktuber. She hangs out with Eric from Lonesome Reader. She doesn't booktube much anymore, but she has been on his channel a few times in the last few months with book prizes with the Women's Prize for Fiction. Anyway, I'm rambling, but this one, middle grades, fantasy, surrounding this little 11-year-old girl named Tilly. Tilly. So Tilly is being raised by her grandparents, and they own a bookstore. So yeah, she's struggling in her relationship with her best friend, her childhood best friend. I mean, they basically have fallen out of friendship or aren't really associating right now because of school changes and just evolving as humans. And she kind of falls into friendship with the little boy across the street that his grandmother runs, or mother runs the bakery across the street. So yeah, all about books. If you love, let's see, Anne of Green Gables and Alice in Wonderland, Pride and Prejudice, Sherlock Holmes, those are referenced in here. Treasure Island. So that's really fun. And the premise is some people can, you know, get so involved in books that they have this ability to actually become a part of the story and get into the story for real, not just imagining. And the plot twist ensued. This book was so well paced. I just kept turning pages. I thought I would even finish it in one day. I started it yesterday, and it's a little over, I think it's 400, close to 400 pages, and I finished almost 300 of them, or at least 250 yesterday, and finished it up today. So it's a quick read. I love the size of this book in comparison to, you know, the normal YA, here you go, and in comparison to a normal hardback, you know, it's just the cutest little chunky in your hands style, because it's fat but it's kind of short and squatty. I just love it, and it's beautifully put together. So under this gorgeous cover, you have a naked hardback, and then beautiful end pages and more beautiful end pages, which end pages are a part of the storyline. And then illustrations throughout, not excessively, but you know, here and there there's pretty little pages like that. So beautifully put together book, well paced, lovely characters, and so intelligent. I just felt like it was a really intelligent book that I would have enjoyed as a tween, and did enjoy as an adult. So There you go. Great book, great book. And then I also finished today my other Kendare Blake, Girl of Nightmares. This is the sequel to Anna Dressed in Blood. These are, I would say, paranormal story and somewhat of a romance, definitely, but not, you know, excessively so. That's just part of the storyline. But this surrounds a ghost hunter, a guy. What's his name? I'm so Cass. Yeah, I'm so terrible with names. Cass, and he hunts ghosts. He's a ghost hunter, and this is the last ghost he had hunted, and kind of, she's really pretty, you know what I'm saying? And there's a backstory. It's heartbreaking backstory. So yeah, the first one was lovely, and then this one, they're both dark. There's voodoo involved, as not just ghosts, but voodoos and witches and the ghosts. And the first one's dark, but this one is much darker. And there's a lot more teenage cursing, which I find annoying because I teach teenagers, so I'm not judging you if you curse, because, you know, I drop a few of those words from time to time, but teenagers do it prolifically, if you know what I mean. So I guess it's kind of real to life. I just find it annoying, but it's somewhat realistic for a certain set of quite a few teenagers. Anyway, I digress. So that was a little annoying. This one also had a scene in a place called the Suicide Forest, and I found that somewhat cringy for obvious reasons, especially when you read it. But the story kept me pulled through most of the time, and the ending was great. It was really great. So I did, while there were a couple of irritating things about this, overall I enjoyed it as much as the first and really liked this series. Very entertaining. So yeah, that's what I have finished this week. I have also still reading Anya Seton, The Winthrop Woman. This is historical fiction set in the Massachusetts Bay Colony in 1631, centered around Elizabeth Winthrop. So yeah, talking about the Protestant and Catholic churches and the Puritans specifically. Enjoying that. I'm on chapter 5. This is one that I've budgeted to read the whole month, so doing great there. And surprisingly, I have made progress in the boring book. So it's still fairly boring, but I'm reading about Billy Graham right now. And, you know, that's kind of got some interesting spots. I skim read when I need to, but I am almost to page 200. So I feel like this might happen, people. And then War and Peace, I've read probably 6 more pages, so yeah. Oh, did you hear that? That was that book. Anyway, and then since I finished the Kendare Blake, the little ghost book, whatever it was called, I was listening to that on audio, so I needed another audiobook for the way home from work. So I had Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens on audio, and I was like, on Audible. I was like, let's start that one. So here we go. I think I listened to, you know, 2 or 3 chapters thus far. I have a half hour commute home. I think I just read 2, listened to 2. But really, really, really enjoying it so far. Initial feelings are this is going to be a winner, definitely. Very nature focused and coastal, like ocean, on the, not the beach, but marshes. which is very much where, you know, I grew up in Florida. We have that landscape. So this really reminds me of home, even though it's set in the Carolinas. And yeah. And you hear me talking more country when I talk about this book, because that's how they speak in this book. And, you know, I'm influenced by the dialects I hear. So yeah, really enjoying this. I think I'll love it. So that's how my reading went this week. Pretty darn good. And yeah, I guess I'm gonna shut up now. Thanks for watching, and I will be back soon. Bye. Oopsie.